social media can have a positive effect because it does paint the picture for young people, right? It gives you that idea, that thought of, oh, I can become that, I can do that, which makes things achievable. Now you have a target that you can aim towards.
Project Dream, yeah, you know we're the team. Put in work, we can do it.
Hello world, I want to welcome you to Project Dream Experience. I'm so excited that I get to share this opportunity with you all. Project Dream is a resource center, a place where young people can come and get the support, the guidance, the mentoring, and coaching that they need to become the best version of themselves. And the team members at Project Dream Academy is going to coach you, support you, give you everything that you need every step of the way along this journey. Project Dream Academy is centered around three major points. That's academics, personal development, and health and wellness.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of PDA TV. Woo, 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 woo. That's right. We're so glad that you guys could tune in with us tonight for another episode, another great talk. Having with us tonight, we have Jordan, we have Asante. We are your Project Dream team.
You.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have you guys back on again tonight. Knowing that people will want to hear some great things, some great stories. You guys have a plethora of experiences and work that you guys have done when it came to youth. So really know that you guys can add some good value to our conversation tonight. Okay. So we'll kind of just jump right into this thing and get going, and hopefully some people out there can really take something from it, and we can help some folks out and provide some value to a lot of young people and adults and parents as well. We know all of you guys are listening, who's tuned in here. So we just appreciate you guys. We do want you to go to our YouTube, Project Dream TV. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow all those social media outlets. Asante's gonna put the button somewhere here, maybe, I don't know, here, somewhere around there. Make sure you guys click that red button, okay? We want you on the Project Dream team. Tonight, our conversation will be centered and focused around the state of young people, right? We know that the last 2 years have been certainly a transition for young people, something that none of us had to experience in our youth, but this post-COVID kind of transition where kids are getting back to normalcy. But I truly believe that there's never going to be a time like it was pre-COVID, right? So with COVID, that brought a lot of different challenges for young people, whether that was academically, whether it was socially, whether it was resources, right? You'd be surprised how many young people don't have access to food, to books, to laptops, technology. Well, COVID was something that kind of challenged a lot of those different things, not only for schools, but for school districts, for parents, right? Parents now had to become teachers and teach kids and stay at home from work. So I really want to focus our conversation tonight around the state of young people and what some things that we can do to help those young people, to help those parents as well, and just to help the community as a whole. So we'll jump right into it tonight. For you, Jordan, I think this will be great. You can provide some great feedback in relation to this, being one who worked directly with youth, and then now in your work, being able to work with teachers who teach the youth. You probably have a great grasp of understanding like the state of where young people truly are from an academic standpoint, where teachers are from a teaching standpoint, trying to teach these young people who have overcame so many different challenges and changes in their education. So definitely would want to, first question for you is, how are young people viewed in society today in the classroom? So take it away, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. So I think it's really interesting, and I'm glad you brought up the impact of COVID, because I think that young people are overstimulated, but they're like, it's a weird juxtaposition because they're viewed in society as in like kind of how they were before COVID. So it's like there was just like a year and a half almost where kids are at home, and there's a lot of distractions, and there's like a lot of different things that are going on that are leading to this overstimulation. Kids have access to cell phones all day, and just a variety of things, not to include social media. So, um, but I think that at the same time, I think the kids are also really, really resourceful because of this COVID and this pandemic. I think kids had to become more resourceful because they had to really become creative, much more creative than we were in how they communicate and build friendships and bonds and make connections, which I think is ultimately going to really help them as they get older. So that's kind of my thoughts on how kids are viewed in the classroom and the state of education.
Yeah, no, man, I think you brought up some great points when you mentioned some of those things. So, Asante, how, I'll throw that same question for you. I know you've had some experiences working with youth, especially from a emotional, mental standpoint, right? That's, I would say, the biggest factor as opposed to physically kids not going to school or staying home. I think the mental and emotional stability and challenges that come with that probably outweigh the physical, to be honest. So how has that been? How's young people been viewed, are viewed in society from your work and your experiences?
Yeah, great question. From my side, I see that they are fearless. Like this generation is actually the ones that are breaking the norms. And sometimes it's not by choice. Like especially with COVID, they were forced to learn and to build different discipline. Like our discipline is different from what they have to go through now. They actually have to try to focus in front of a screen when we had an entire environment to say this is just for math, this is just for social media, opposed to now you sit and you're stationed and you're sitting in one spot trying to learn everything. So from my side, I feel like they're very, very fearless. They're very fearless in the sense that they're making sure that the expectations that society has on them before COVID, like Jordan said, they still have those expectations. It's just they're achieving it differently than what we had to achieve. So they're definitely doing the best that they can with what's given, but it definitely takes a toll on mentally because now you don't have that separation. You don't have the separation from school, from home, to do this, to do that. It's like it's one wall that they're looking at. So it definitely did take a toll on them mentally and making sure that they still maintain sanity and still being able to like get through the day. Yeah.
That's interesting. Like I think you guys hit the nail right on the head with a lot of points. I know for me, in what I do, I speak to a lot of parents, and the kind of commonality that I hear in the conversations I hear is, hey, COVID changed things, right? My son was used to getting up. He had a routine about going to school and what to do and sports after. Well, that kind of changed a lot, where kids was now going to school in their pajamas, in a sense, right? Because you're getting out of bed and you're just jumping on to a chair or a desk to do work, right? Or kids playing games in between classes and all that type of stuff, right? So it really changed the focus and the requirements of what young people had to do. So I think that's a really good point that you guys bring up. My next question for you guys are there influences that have changed how young people view themselves? I put that out there for you all to kind of think and ponder about, because there are so many distractions, right, that kids have to use and see. And we think about social media now, right, how really and little kids have phones, not little kids, but kids have phones now, especially middle school age kids, right, that 10 to 13, they have cell phones now. I didn't, but it's a different generation, right? So with that, kids now have accessibility to the internet, to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, right? So there's so many different more influences. How has that changed how young people view themselves, whether that be for positive or for negative?
It's really interesting. It's really, really interesting. Just because I think that like social media has really had a really profound impact on like how like self-esteem and how people view themselves and even how like young kids view themselves. And so just like the fact that, not trying to blame everything on the pandemic, but the fact that there was so much screen time, even if you don't have a cell phone, as a tablet, you can go to the library and access the same thing. So it's just like there are ways there are ways for kids to like continue to access this like barrage of just like information. I think that, like I said before, that information can be great and is helpful, allows them the resource, but a lot of people are like idolizing, as we all know, idolizing what they're seeing on Instagram and not getting the whole picture, not getting the full picture. And so like, and that's causing a lot of, mental illness and mental health problems and crises. I feel like just because there aren't we're not getting that full context or that full picture as they would if they were in person, or if they were just to kind of, just have that whole context. So that's kind of my thoughts on the subject.
Yeah, no, definitely. What I've seen, I think it speeds up the process for young people, right? Like you don't really understand that life is a journey or a process until you get older and get to that point. Prime example, right? You hear every kid wants to either be an athlete, right, or a rapper, or girls want to be a model, right? Like you hear these commonalities, and there's nothing wrong with that. Those are all great things, but I think they don't understand the level of work and persistence and grind that it takes to get that. You go on Instagram and you see Lil Baby, right? That's Lil Baby, right? He's hot. Everybody knows his song, or Jack Harlow. I even heard this in one of his on his new CD, his new tape that he put out, right? Like everybody just hearing about him and he's just blowing up, but he's been underground or has been doing this for 10 years, right? Just practicing and grinding to get to the point where he is now for the world to hear him. So I think, social media can have a positive effect because it does paint the picture for young people, right? It gives you that idea, that thought of, oh, I can become that, I can do that, which makes things achievable. Now you have a target that you can aim towards, but at the same time, I think it creates a false narrative of not a real reality of what it takes to accomplish that. So I think that's a great point. Asante, you got anything on that?
Yeah, actually, it's not too often what both of you guys said. The positive from it is that they can see that they can do it. Like, okay, this person came from nowhere and now look where they are now. So I can do it too. But then they have the negative aspect of it, which I call is similar to what you were saying, Demanye. I call it the microwavable mentality. So it's like I can do this and get it done, and it's done. I'm famous tomorrow. It's like they expect it to be so quick, and they don't realize how much time and effort is put to get to where that person is or to get to the journey. They don't trust the process. They just want like, listen, this is what I want to do, and this is how it should be. So I do believe that social media does have an impact, positive and negative, but really more so negative if the youth or the guardian is not in the right state of mind perceiving it, like taking the right knowledge from what they see and not taking it for what it is.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I do have to like speak for those young people out here who like you don't have any positive influences, right? You can't look to mom or dad, or you can't look to an aunt or uncle or grandparents to see any positivity, right? Maybe you're part of a system that's just been broken or has not been taught better, right? Sometimes you need those images of positive people to get you on the right track, to show you your potential. So I do sympathize with it a little bit. I know for me, like personally, like Ray Lewis was my favorite football player, right? And me being a linebacker and him being a linebacker in the NFL, like I idolized my game. I would watch tape, I would watch speeches. Like he set the foundation for who I was as a football player. I don't know Ray Lewis. I've never met Ray Lewis other than watching him at a football game. I don't have a clue who this man is, but he was the reason. He gave me vision, right? Vision of how to play the game, how to be a leader, right? How to control where you are and what you're doing. And it's crazy because I think some of those early lessons that I watched just from YouTube videos or watching highlights or watching him play, it trickulates to what I do today, right? And trying to be a leader, on my job and through Project Dream, and it's kind of just been a characteristic that's followed me in every role. And I think a lot of that stems from those images. So it's a give or take thing. I guess I would say for young people is to make sure that You do have images that you can see yourself in or picture yourself in, but understand the real reality that comes with that and not trying to rush your way to the top, but understanding that it is a process and it is a journey. And the great thing about what we do is we're here to help young people on that journey to get there and to give them resources and the support and guidance to get there. So I think that's the important work that we do in our organization at Project Dream to help fulfill those dreams for young people.
We are Project Dream.